would like to excuse the mayor. He's not feeling well tonight, and George Jost's not feeling well as well. And I'm Gary Kelpak, the council president, so I'll go ahead and like to excuse the mayor. He's not feeling well tonight, and George Jost's not feeling well as well. And I'm Gary Kelpak, the council president, so I'll go ahead and excuse the mayor. Looks like there's nothing left for me to say. So we'd like to go ahead and have a pledge of allegiance to the flag, and we'd like to ask City Administrator Reed Clevenger if he
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. So is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Council President, I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Second.
There's been a motion to approve and second. Is there any discussion or any additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? The next item on the agenda then is presentations. And our first presentation is the pinning ceremony for the newly promoted Captain Brad Halter.
Good evening, Council. Sean Strolikson with the Police Department. As I believe all of you know, we recently promoted Sergeant Brad Halter to the position of captain. Brad has been with the Green River Police Department since 2006. He's worn several hats during that time. He's an FTO. He was our intoximeter instructor. He was a canine handler for years and years and years and did an awesome job with that. What Brad is primarily known for, though, is his investigation of DUIs and his passing on of knowledge of that subject. Brad has accounted before I came here, and Brad has been our DUI officer of the year 14 times since he's been at Green River PD. He takes that very seriously, so much so that he has taught at the academy for years as well, passing on his knowledge on that subject to hundreds of officers throughout the state to help them be better investigators as well. Those are the things that are on paper. What you see in Brad when you're around him is dedication to the job. Very, very passionate about what he does, cares a lot about his people and the department. And his leadership skill is second to none. So he's going to do a great job for us as a captain. So we're here to celebrate his promotion and to do an official pinning, get his captain bars tonight. So his family's going to do that. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and do that.
Congratulations. Do you have anything you'd like to say, Brad? Well, you've got 10 minutes if you'd like.
No, I'm okay. Thank you, though.
Does the council have anything they'd like to say?
Thanks for your service. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thanks for keeping our streets safer. We truly appreciate it and keep up the good work, and you deserve this.
Absolutely.
We'd like to have you all come down here and take pictures, if you would, please. The council just stay up top up here. Family. We'll go ahead and take just a real short break before the next item. If those of you that are here for the pinning, if you don't want to stay for the rest of the council, you're welcome to leave. If not, you might as well stay. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Sweetwater County Joint Travel and Tourism Report.
Good evening, counselors.
The
I'm
next item on the agenda is the Sweetwater County Joint Travel and Tourism Report.
good evening, counselors.
The next item on the agenda is Sweetwater Travel and Tourism Report.
Good evening. Will my presentation come up or no? Oh. I'll just wait for that. The report that I'm going to share with you tonight is the 2023 annual report for the Lodging Tax Board. It's in your yellow bag there. Yep, that's it. There it is. All right, we're ready to go. So as you know, the local lodging tax board is made up of 11 volunteer board members. This board administers the local lodging tax. So when someone stays in a hotel room or campground, they collect a room rate, a sales tax, and a lodging tax. That lodging tax has to be spent for marketing purposes. So this is how that money was spent in the last year. So on the board, we have 6 appointments from the city of Rock Springs, 2 from the city of Green River, 1 from Wamsutter, 1 from Superior, and 1 from the county commission. The 2 from Green River are Kim Strid, who does a great job, and I Noah Ferrer. She's here tonight. She does a great job as well. We're lucky to have 11 really active, involved board members. So thank you for that. The lodging tax has been in existence since 1991. Every 4 years since 1991, local voters vote to impose that tax. And we have passed at anywhere between 78 and 82%. So local residents really understand the value of the lodging tax. And we are required to have an audit conducted every year. And we've had a clean audit every year that I've been involved for 17 years. No findings. So we're really proud of that as well. Our location is on Elk Street in Rock Springs. This is an ideal location for us to interface with folks who are heading to the national parks. They're on 191 and we've been there since 2020. So happy to be in that new location. You can see there on page 3 how the lodging tax has come in. We're collecting just over $1.2 million right now. And the budget breakdown, as I mentioned, by state statute, the lodging tax has to be spent on marketing and promotional efforts. We can't build a park, a zip line attraction, anything like that. It has to be spent on marketing. So you can see there the budget breakdown. 77% is on a marketing plan, 7% on event grants, 3% to the chambers of commerce, 4% to the events complex, and 9% on administration. So historically, the Rock Springs and Green River Chambers of Commerce have been the two visitor centers in the county, and we had contracted with them for services to help with their employee costs and help them distribute the brochures around the county. So we've done that for years and years. And the events complex as well. We've provided a marketing grant to them, and then also we provide funding to help them with recruitment event costs. So when they travel to recruit those RV rallies to Sweetwater County, we cover the costs of those events. You can see there on that list of events on page 4, any event in the county that's hosted by a nonprofit entity qualifies for lodging tax funding. So we fund almost 30 events every year. The River Festival, Art on the Green. There's a lot of events that we host locally. And if you ever are interested in hosting an event or creating a new event, we have what's called a heat map of occupancy. So we track the occupancy by month and by week, so we can help people to plan their events as well. In addition to the local events that are hosted, we recruit events to the area. Most recently, we recruited state soccer for high school 3A and 4A boys and girls. That's a $6 million economic impact to the local economy just to host those 2-year state events. So excited to have those. That's a heat map that I was talking about. We track the occupancy throughout the county to see what weeks and months are full and what weeks and months are best to create something to draw occupancy. On page 5, there are the committees and boards that I serve on or host. I serve on the Wyoming Hospitality and Tourism Coalition. There's only 15 people on that board, so I represent Sweetwater County on that board. I'm currently the vice chair. I serve on the steering committee for the Outdoor Recreation Collaborative. I host the Lodging Association. I chair that, the event recruitment, Rock Springs Beautification, Flaming Gorge Scenic Byway Committee. And then most recently, I have started serving on a regional and a national board, DMA West and Destinations International. The strategic plan that's mentioned there on page 5 as well. We want to make sure that we have a roadmap going forward for spending these tax dollars. And so in 2021, we knew that federal funding was going to become available. We wanted to make sure that we had a strategic plan in place to be able to utilize those funds and apply for them in an effective way. So we put together the strategic plan, and a lot of effort went into that. The consultant that we worked with compiled 31 strategic plans in the county. So every guiding document that existed, we brought together 24 local leaders and conducted almost 300 resident and 300 visitor surveys. So it was a very well vetted plan. And some of the current status projects that we've worked on is the wayfinding system in the city of Rock Springs. If you've seen the purple signs around the city of Rock Springs that are falling down, those were a project that we did in 2010. And so we wanted to give that a facelift. And we received some funding from the Wyoming Office of Tourism. It's called Destination Development Funding, to be able to do projects like that. We will receive that funding on a biennium basis. So we'll receive it every 2 years. So this first phase of signage in the city of Rock Springs will be about 26 signs going up before June. So you'll see that. As you know, we also host Flaming Gorge bus tours. Many of you have been on those as well. Planning to host again this summer. We have already had over 1,000 passengers on that tour. It goes all the way around the Flaming Gorge National Recreation Area. And we've had really, really great reviews of it. Sandboarding, we're also promoting. We just now have worked with the BLM to get some safety signage put up out there. So people expect that there might be sandboarders out there, so that they're taking precautionary measures. So once those signs are up, we'll be able to promote that even more. But it's a really fun event. If you haven't done it, Great Sand Dunes National Park is really active in sandboarding. You can see videos online. It's really, really popular. So hoping to push that more in the future. And the Flaming Gorge All-American Road, we gained that designation in 2021. We are still working to apply for funding to build turnouts off of that byway. We currently have applied for over $2 million in funds. The 2 sites that I'm looking to build out that I have applications in for are the Henry's Fork And then the Blacks Fork, we've applied for those 2 sites. And then I want to look at the Clay Basin site as well for restroom facilities. So working on that. This is our newest video for the All American Road. Oh, you might not have audio.
Ancient rock formations and pristine wilderness meet stunning waterways and canyons. Tour the Flaming Gorge Scenic Byway, a designated All-American road in southwest Wyoming. And let the open road take you somewhere unforgettable. Travel safe and stay informed while adventuring responsibly in Rock Springs and Greater. Plan your adventure at explore.wy.com.
Sorry, which I think turned out really well. We got some great footage of the tour. So we administer funds for board projects as well. We've partnered a lot with Downtown Rock Springs in the last year, helped them. We paid for the lighted display at Christmas time, the s'mores event, and their historic walking tour brochure. I also applied for funding for the Mustang Loop Trail from the Wyoming Office of Outdoor Recreation, and that's all been installed. That's the trail behind the college in Rock Springs. It's a 3-mile trail, really family friendly. It's a great 3 miles of trail. We also partner with KUTV2 News out of Salt Lake City. This past summer, we actually featured all of the rental equipment opportunities that people can take advantage of when they're here. It used to be when someone came to our area, they had to bring their own everything, or they couldn't really get out and explore in the desert. So we have a lot of rental vendors right now that we wanted to highlight. So we did that with the KUTV2 News segment, and I'll show you one of those clips. When someone came to our area, they had to bring their own everything. Maybe a lot of rental vendors right now that we wanted to highlight. So we did that with the KUTV2 News segment, and I'll show you one of those clips. When someone came to our area, they had to bring their own everything. Maybe a lot of rental vendors right now that we want to highlight. I think we got the KUTV2 News segment. I'll show you one of those clips.
Great for people walking outdoors and doing all the things. These rental opportunities you guys have. We're going to show how to try desert running. So it's not what you would expect in Wyoming. And it can be intimidating. If you don't have the gear, if you don't know the way, if you're years and years, it's a little intimidating right now, or it might be. If we can get the bus to we have rental. I love that. I just think people might not think about, but it is a little daunting to feel like you don't have to start out, but that takes that to the balance. It's easy as a road trip to this area, check out everything. The Green River behind us is beautiful. Different kinds of things that people do. Everything from mountain to kayaking to riding the ATV and the hill picker sand dune. And if that's too much, you're going to surf the dunes on the sandboard. There's a list of that. That's really true kind of an adventure. There's so many opportunities. I love it. And it's so great for families who are really beginning to just take a day trip for a couple of days. There's so much to do. So spend a long time here. We're going for kind of like a general overview of where to start. Explore.wy.com. So that's the Rock Springs and Green River, Wyoming. The rental, the bus tour, everything's right there. All right. Well, I'm ready to check out the river. What is that there? Be sure to stay tuned. We'll be out there for the rest of the day. Rock Springs, Wyoming.
Sorry. So yeah, great spot there along the river to be able to have that featured. So happy to do that. Page 8 and 9 of your annual report, that's that bulk of that budget pie chart that you saw, 77% that's spent on out of county marketing. Some of these billboards you've seen in town, but most of our advertising is targeted outside of Sweetwater County. And you can see some of those examples there. I have another video, but I think I'm going to skip it. I'll send you the link because it's 2 minutes and that might be a little brutal. Public relations. There isn't a detailed page on this, but I wanted to mention it. A lot of times when Rock Springs or Green River, they're mentioned in a publication, a magazine, an online editorial. We have done a lot of work behind the scenes to bring that editorial to fruition. So we host press trips every summer. We bring in writers from all different publications. We host them in our area. We show them the attractions, and then we work with them after the fact on their editorial. So Thrillist, Matador Network, the Denver Post, Business in Focus, and many more. But for all of the editorial coverage that we received, if we would have had to pay for that in advertising, it would have cost $14.5 million. So worth the legwork on the front end to bring those publications to life featuring Sweetwater County. The Reach Awards, we just want to make sure that when people come to our area, they have a good experience. So we give out customer service awards every quarter to people in the hospitality industry, making sure they feel recognized and know how important they are. And then we have a customer service training program. We have over 110 CTAs right now. It's called Certified Tourism Ambassador Program. So it's half learning about the area, half learning about customer service and how to really provide that experience when people come to our area. So it's $39 a person. It's a 4-hour training and it's a credential that you have for a year and can renew at $19. So for anybody, not just hospitality workers, this is a customer service training program for anybody. And then we measure our advertising, making sure that when we spend money to advertise, people are actually coming to the area and we're actually putting heads in beds, which is the entire purpose of our efforts. So we know that our advertising influenced almost $67 million in spending. People, when they come, they bring about 3 people, spend about 3.5 days, engage in about 4 activities. So for every $1 that we spend to market to them, there's a return on investment to the local economy of $490. We influenced over 51,000 trips. And that little circle on there, I wanted to tell you because we've had some questions on it. We now contract with a vendor called Datafy, where we can geofence a location and we can see what the cell phone data and automobile GPS data shows us as far as in county versus out of county number of people at the event. Obviously, it's not a perfect science, but we do have that ability now and are able to pull reports for any event that you might want us to geofence. We're going to do it anyways for the most part, but if there's anything outside the box that you want more information on, let us know. And that's all I have, unless there are any questions.
Thank you. Janessa, you've done a fabulous job and just putting Green River and Rock Springs and Sweetwater County in itself on the map, and all the work that you do for marketing and getting us outside the state to bring people in is just an amazing job. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
Anyone else have any comments? I do have one comment. I want to tell you thank you. And I would like you to be my investor because if you can get $490 on every dollar, I'll give it to you all day long.
I wish I could do it for my own money. It's funny though. There was a time in 2009, I was just telling another group, I think we had like $6 for every $1 because in 2009 when the recession hit, and I was like, we still got a return. It's fine. So we've come a long way. It's good information. So
Very
thank you
good.
so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the Green River Greenbelt Task Force update. Mr. Freeman, if you want to come forward.
Good evening, Council. I'd like to thank you for having me, and I will try to make this informative and quick. As a recovering politician, I always liked and appreciated that.
Could you state your name for the record?
Oh, I'm
So-
John
so
Freeman.
we've got it on record.
I'm John Freeman. I'm the chairman of the Green River Greenbelt Task Force.
Thank you.
There should be 2 documents that were in your mailbox, and I'm sorry that I didn't get them to you quicker than I did, but I went on vacation last week and I got my wife feeling good about me. Maybe not you, but at least my wife is feeling good about me. So I feel pretty good about that. The one with the pictures and the logo is the newsletter that went out today. Some of you are already on our email list, and this will look different than what you have. Because when we put it on email and send it out as our newsletter, it also has to look good on a phone. So they have to reformat everything. So, and I can't quite get used to that. And then the second document is the 2023 achievements of the Greenbelt Task Force and its many partners. So basically what I'm doing tonight is highlighting one of the best public private partnerships in the state, and that's the city of Green River and the Greenbelt Task Force. We've been doing this since 1990. We've been working together to enrich the lives of the residents of not only Green River, but Rock Springs, because more and more of it's becoming a regional park. We've been protecting the green and the wildlife so that they have a place to come to, and promote suitable economic development in the Greenbelt corridor. If you looked at what we've built in the last 34 years, I think that everybody has the ability to be proud. When we put the initial master plan together, we thought that, that would take 30 years, and we did it in less than 10. And now we have a new master plan and we're going forward, and projects are falling right in line. The other thing that I think that we haven't kept accurate data on this, but about 80% of everything that's been produced or produced in the Greenbelt corridor has been done by donations, by grants, and volunteer labor. The city is the deep pockets. We'll be very honest with that. But oftentimes when they have to come up with a match, it's in-kind labor and that kind of stuff. So it's a great thing to go forward. And we have an opportunity to do more. The master plan, we're following it pretty well, and it's going into line. So we'll go over these two documents. And if you look at the newsletter that went out tonight, this is the cheat sheet, the first two paragraphs, what we've done and what we hope to accomplish in the next year. And just to read a little bit of it, we have a dog park now that people can go to, and we have a statue of a dog there to welcome everybody there. We've done major repair on the cracks and on the asphalt trails. We've planted a solar light, and we'll talk more about that later. There's a debate among the members of the Greenbelt Task Force of, well, let's light it all. And some people are very much in favor of that. And there are people like me who like to walk in the moonlight and don't think everything should be done. And we've reached out to the Wyoming Game and Fish, and they have noticed areas in the Greenbelt area that we don't want lit up because of wildlife issues, and make sure that there are people who are there. I was going to hand out these Friends of the Greenbelt things like I did last year, but I went on vacation last week, and that was on my wife's seat, and I put it somewhere and where I could find it right away. In 45 minutes of discovery tonight, I didn't find them, so I'll put them in your mailbox. But this is our attempt to gain funds to where that we can work on to match grants, to award small grants to local groups that are trying to do something on the Greenbelt. And in the newsletter, it says there, if you give us your email with your name and address, we'll go after you. But only once a year. That's all we plan to do. The second page talks about stuff that we haven't talked about since last email that went out. We've gone on to a quarterly base. We had a high school student a year ago that put something out every month, and we can't find a person to replace her, and we don't have the capability of doing that. But the Skyline Trail is more is much closer to reality. And what that trail is a trail that will start at Upland Way. It'll go up South Hill. The pathway will be 7 feet wide. And the reason for that is it's going to be a handicap-friendly, barrier-free place so that a paraplegic can go up there if they have the right equipment to go up that way. But the trail is for everybody. We applied for a Wyoming Outdoor Recreation Grant. They kind of strung us along for about a year and a half, thinking that we would get money, and we didn't act on it. And once we were rejected, anyway, Tom Wilson really got going. And basically what's happened is we were awarded $1,000 from the Shilcox Foundation in 2022. And we're going to use 75% of that to build that trail. We've used some of it to get the NAPA done and that kind of stuff. William H. Smith Engineering has volunteered to do the drawings and the engineering at their cost. And that's where $10,000 of Dustin's money is going to go. And the really nice and the really generous is Cyril Brothers will begin to build the trail for the cost of their fuel and consumables. Now, they made an offhand comment that, 1/3 of their thing is their operators, 1/3 is the machinery, and 1/3 is the fuel. So we're getting like a 1/3 bill. So if you have an extra $10,000, I know a good place to use it. We hope that we can start building that in March. Cyril Brothers would like to use building this trail as a training place for them so that they can get their operators working really well when the construction season takes off. Last month, Sweetwater County Library Foundation has allotted $10,000 for a story walk. And basically what that is they put display cases, for lack of a better way of putting it, on a pole, and you can see a picture of that. And then they take a book out, they laminate it, and they put the pages of the book along the trail. And basically what happens is the kids and their families can read the book, which is enjoyable to them. And then the other thing that happens is they have the Greenbelt itself to where they can watch the wildlife and other things that are happening. And then the other thing that I've already talked about it is we got a $10,000 grant from the recreation district, school district number 2 recreation district. And we've been able to expand that. We had the one light on, we checked it during the winter. We were afraid with a solar light that we wouldn't have light in the morning. So we put the light out in the darkest part of the year, and we had light the next morning. And so we think that that's going to work. We didn't know how many we would have when we put this experiment together. We thought anywhere from 3 to 10, probably closer to 3 than 10. But with the donations that we're looking at and the lights that we've done already, there's a strong possibility that we can do almost 30 lights in certain locations. So we're looking at like the pavilions. People have picnics, it gets dark. It'd be nice to be able to see their footing when they go back to their car, to getting on the Greenbelt itself, and that kind of stuff. And then there are parts of the trail that we will light up. The light is also very interesting because it's programmable, and basically we can leave it on at 20% of its ability, and you almost have to bump into it before, depending on how we get the monitor, just like your security lights in front of your house. And then when that goes on, you can read a newspaper or anything with that. And we think that that's pretty cool. We're entering in a MOU with the city, and I don't know when you're going to do it, but we've already approved it. And one of the things that we have to do is we have to come and talk about what we've done for 2023. And this is what we put together. And it should have pictures and be a little bit more appealing. But if you look through it, first we talk about the members of the task force. Carolyn Lucky stuck it out with us for almost 9 years, over 9 years, almost 10 years. And she chose to move on, but she was gracious enough to help train our new treasurer, and keep me out of jail. And Melissa Atkinson is our new treasurer. Dave Young has also agreed to serve on the task force. Both the task force and the city approved the master plan, so that's our map for development. Our friends of the Greenbelt program, we need money. Bottom line, the more we have, the more opportunities we have. So we're trying to raise it, and we're learning. We're not very proficient at it yet. But you can see the people who donated money on the first page. If you go to the second page, you can see all the people that have donated time and expertise in that, and that's a lot more than the almost $5,000 that we got in cash. The Greenbelt Chamber donated $1,600 for us from their duck race, and we like that. The dog park we opened. The other thing that I would point to your attention is the end of that is the Corbellis Foundation gave the Greenbelt Task Force $50,000 to come with upgrades to that. They're going to have shade features, benches, that kind of stuff. So that will make the park a lot more user friendly for the human part. The dogs seem to like everything. We didn't do it. TU did the bank stabilization project. I think it's over 2,000 feet that they put in. That area has been eroding for 30 years. The Greenbelt and the city put a trail in there 30 years ago, and the trail was 10 foot wide, and it was 15 feet from the edge of the drop off to the river. And in most places of that, the river eroded the 15 feet buffer space, and it also eroded the 10-foot trail. So basically what TU did is they put the river back to where it was 30 years ago. It put rocks, it put recycled concrete, it put logs in there, and that's going to stabilize that bank to where it's not going to come back in and take away habitats and that kind of stuff. And what they also did is they put features in there that will increase fishing. My next door neighbor, he's teaching his wife how to fly fish, and when she gets off work at night, about 2 to 3 times a week, they go down and in that area. And he says that in about an hour of daylight that they have, they're able to catch 2 fish, and that's about what I catch in 8 hours. There's a bank stabilization project phase 2, and TU is going to do that project. But the problem with the stabilization phase 2 is that it doesn't have a wildlife benefit. It will secure the bank, but it's not going to bring in fish like the first phase of it. And as a result, because there's no wildlife benefit, other grants will be hard to find. We teamed up with TU to get a CUPCA grant, and about $140,000 is left in that area. And what we're hoping is we have to get an engineer on that. We're hoping that if we use recycled concrete, that we can put the that bank stabilization in there. It'll look ugly, but it'll protect the bank and it'll protect the trail, and we can pretty it up some other time. Our social media has been very worthwhile, and looks like we printed out the old version of that, but we have close to 500 followers. We have an increase of 300 people that are liking it. I have people that have moved out of town and they're watching it all the time, and the local residents are too. I get stopped in the supermarket a lot and saying, who really does that? And Edgar Romero and Jason Grubbs are the 2 people that have done that, and they've done a fantastic job. Talked about the newsletter. You gave us a $25,000 grant, and we very much appreciate that. One of the things that we were told by the Park and Rec Department is that they would like to have a sinking fund. So we have a sinking fund for maintenance that are not routine on the trails. $5,000 for signage, and we're going to develop a signing fee. And then the big thing is the $5,000 for the operational costs of the Greenbelt Task Force. We need liability insurance. We're protected pretty much by the state, but we should have the other insurance. Tax preparation, registration fees. We're going to have to do an audit because we're getting federal fees. So that $5,000 you give to us is able to do the business. I've already talked most about what the Sweetwater School District M2 Recreation District has given us, to the pilot light. We started we got a grant from the city to do the crack seal, and you guys gave an extra $72,000 to seal what we put together to seal the repairs and do a little bit more. We're a little bit short, so we're probably going to come and ask for some more so that we can finish that. So we have a couple decades where you don't have to worry about maintenance. Kilder wetlands. That's the slowest project in the world. I mean, we're having to put everything together, and I really want to thank Mark because he has kept us on task and doing it right. We've done this several times before. There has been problems. Mark allowed the task force and other people to be part of the selection process. I think we got a very good engineer. And if you look at the bottom part of that, you can see that the city and the task force has both been going after grants. A lot of times there are grants that the city can't apply for because of how they're applied. And there are grants that we can't apply for. So when we work in partners, we can go after those grants and hopefully get enough to get the whole project done. I've already talked about the Skyline Trail. I guess I really should ask you if you have some extra gas money, but I won't. The River Park restoration, we've been waiting for that for a long time. The city has a federal and a state grant, and I understand that that's ready to go out to bid. And hopefully those two grants will cover that to where we restore that area. One of the things that I'm excited about is that there's going to be lighting there so that we can extend the use of that park. The last thing that I want to do is there's been several nonprofits that have been hit by embezzlement, and we're very conscious of being transparent. We have our banking with Trona Valley Credit Union, so we have the big number at the bottom, but they allow us to separate that into different groups so that we make sure that the money doesn't go astray. If you look down to the city grant, before we do our taxes and do our audits, we have $3,999 to go from there. We have the Shilcox money. We have gone from $14,800 to $18,900. So we're building some operational cash, and you can see your sinking fund there. And then again, I told you that the Corbellis Foundation give us $50,000 to make improvements to the dog park, which I think that the public will really enjoy. The future looks bright. If nothing goes wrong, over $1.5 million of improvements should be done on the Greenbelt project during this construction season. So hopefully everything will go well. I thank you for your patience, and I welcome your questions.
Thank you, John, for all the work that you guys are doing. Is there any comments from the council?
No, just thanks for being diligent and going after everything that you can, for sure.
Thank you. And I want to thank the city. I mean, we had a discussion, Katie and I had a discussion not too long ago, and if it wasn't for the city, we couldn't do much. And if it wasn't for us, the city would be hampered to what they could do. So it's just a wonderful public-private partnership.
Thank you, John. Probably the Greenbelt is one of the most used assets that we have in town that people use. There's a lot of people on the Greenbelt all day long. And so I'm looking forward to the lights.
A real quick story. When we first started this, and some of you have heard this before, had a council person tell me that there's only 15 people in the whole city that will ever use it. This is in the 1990s. And my wife still doesn't want to go out on the Greenbelt because I get out there and I'll count the first 15 people and make the comment that we're all there at one time today. So anyway,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. And those that would like to leave are welcome to leave at this time. And the rest of us just have to suffer through it. The next item on the agenda is the citizens' request. Are there any citizens in the audience that would like to speak to the city council that's not on the agenda? Having none, we'll move forward and we'll go to the public hearing for liquor licenses. Chris? Let me open it up first. We'll open it up to the public hearing. So go ahead, Chris.
Good evening, Council President. As you know, this is our annual public hearing for liquor licenses for the renewals. All the renewals have passed everything on the requirements of the state and Sydney ordinances to do the renewal under the current renewals. This time I'll just leave it open to public comment if there is any. And if you want to get into further discussion, there will be an action item to come later.
Is there any public comments we'll go ahead and close the public hearing then. And we'll go to the next item on the agenda, which is resolutions. Item A is consideration of a resolution amending the fiscal year 2024 budget. Chris?
Good evening, Council President, Council. I like it when Tara makes it easy. I don't have to walk back and forth. So tonight, this is our annual mid-year budget resolution. You'll see that there's the number looks a little daunting. That we're moving $1.3 million, but you got to remember that's doubled. We're moving about 692,000 and only 600,000 that's in general fund. Sales taxes came in on a good trend. Councilman Kilpack, you'll notice I said a good trend tonight instead of watch and see. So it has been a good trend. It is coming in well. There is that ability of those funds to come in for the additional sales tax. The three big ticket items in there is a pull and lock room tile replacement, MDTs for the police department, and then some upgrades for the audio and video into the council chambers. As you guys noticed tonight, it acted nicely for us. So with that, I'll entertain any questions you have about the mid-year.
Are there any questions from the council? Councilman Berg?
Okay, Chris, so if you could explain that again, we're looking at moving 1.3 million, but we have ticket items for 692,000 of that.
So we're actually increasing the budget in total because budget doesn't run dual set accounting. Budgets run equally. So we're increasing revenues by $692,000, and we are increasing revenues or changing fund balances by the same amount, which brings us to the 1.3. So you add them together. Budgets run on positives or negatives. We're not decreasing any budgets, so we're not doing any reductions. So revenues increases, expenditures increases, and that's why it looks doubled.
Is there any other questions from the council?
That answers mine.
Okay. Is there a motion to amend the budget 2024?
Council President,
Councilman Shatron?
I move to approve the budget resolution, increasing the general fund, capital projects fund, and wastewater fund for the fiscal year 2024 and the amount of $1,302,200.
There's been a motion by Councilman Shatron to and seconded by Councilman Williams. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is City Council action item. Item A is the consideration to approve the liquor license renewal application. Chris?
I promise, Mayor and Council, I think this is the last time you'll hear from me tonight. Again, this is back to the public hearing. So this is a renewal of all but one of the current licenses that are out there. The one that didn't have his paperwork in time to hit this public meeting. So we'll have a special meeting for it. The remaining others are all, as I said, haven't had any issues. No violations or problems. And the state has approved all their applications and they're in compliance with the city ordinances at this current time.
Any questions from the council?
I got one question. You kind of faded out on me there about the one that we're gonna have a special meeting on or something.
There'll be one applicant that we are doing a special meeting for. You guys will have that information placed into your packet when that
Oh,
special
okay, I
meeting
thought
comes
you
through.
mentioned who it was. and it
I did not
kinda
mention who
Faded
it-
away there, you know. and it
I
was
did
like-
not mention who it was. We'll run through all the notification process and all that to make sure they're properly notified before I mention them.
Are there any other questions? So as I understand that one individual that we're having problem is not on this approval. We're not approving their liquor license at this time.
Correct.
We're waiting for the special
Yeah,
meeting
we had to wait for some
on the 28th.
for the state and some additional information from that one owner. And that renewal is set to run through a special meeting.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve the licenses?
Council President,
Councilman Shetron,
I move to approve the renewal and issuance of the liquor licenses as presented for the term beginning April 1st, 2024 and ending March 31st, 2025, pending the issuance of business licenses and occupational permits according to the current zoning laws, pending legal approval.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Is there a discussion? No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is item B. Consideration to authorize the submission of a fiscal year 23 assistance to firefighters grant to the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Council, Ryan Russ, Government Affairs and Grants. This may look familiar as we applied to this grant last year for a similar project. This year, we're requesting funding for a project that totals about $358,000. This is a 5% match. We're asking for 35 SCBAs for the fire department. Our current SCBAs are no longer manufactured, and so we're having some concerns about repairing those units. We did receive some funding this last year through another grant to replace approximately 6 SCBAs, so we're making some headway. This is the first year that it seems like we're in the ball game a little bit more, and that they've changed the rules for the grant to allow those units that are unrepairable to be an eligible unit. We've been informed that there are lots of fire departments around the country that are in a similar position. So we're not sure where we're going to be in the priority, and we keep applying each year. And as each year passes, we keep becoming more and more likely to get this grant and fine tuning the application. So we're asking your permission to apply again this year, and we'll take any questions.
Any questions for Ryan? Seeing none, thank you, Ryan. Is there a motion?
Council President,
Councilman Berg,
I move to authorize the submission of a fiscal year 23 assistance to firefighters grant to the Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Second.
been moved and seconded. All those, is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is consideration to release the retainage for the 2023 pavement preservation project.
Good evening, Mr. Council President, members of the council, Mark Westensco, Public Works Director. For each of our capital improvement projects, there is a certain amount of retainage that's withheld from each invoice as the work progresses. Current statutory allowance is 5%, and we do hold that until the work is complete, and until the work is complete, once it's complete, we have to advertise for 40 days to allow any suppliers or subcontractors an opportunity to voice any concerns about their final payments. That period has passed and we've received no claims. So we're here to release that retainage.
Is there any, does anyone have any questions at this time? There's no questions, so is there a motion?
Council President, I move to release the retainage to the Lewis and Lewis Incorporation for the 2023 pavement preservation project in the amount of $37,881.25.
Second.
Hearing that there's been a motion made and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Council President,
Councilman Shuttron,
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
been moved by Councilman Shuttron and seconded by Councilman Berg. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, moving on the agenda down to the city administration report.
Thank you, Council President, Council. First of all, again, congrats to Brad and his family and getting the captain's position. He was definitely highly qualified for that one, and we were glad to see him move that forward. Also want to appreciate the budget amendments. There are a lot of things that were on there that got nixed out of the budget as we approved it last June. So some of those things will help within the departments and some of the narratives that would have got again. But the taxes we've been able to receive have helped that, and we are still, we're still above that amount. So we're still looking towards some of the sinking funds and other things, as well as working into the next budget cycle. So, and heading tomorrow to the legislative meetings, as well as WAM, as well as my ICMA or Wyoming CMA meetings. I've got the booklet from the most updated one that you guys would have received tonight from Ryan on all the bills, the House and Senate bills that are going through. It's really flying fast, a lot of changes in there. So we will continue to reach out to you if we need your, the support or letters or calls or whatever it may be on that. But Ryan's doing a really good job of keeping everyone up to date on that, especially myself as I head down there tomorrow. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And I made sure that we left at least 5 or 6 minutes for our attorney's report. Galen?
You'll need all of it tonight, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Councilman Williams. Councilman Shuttron.
No report this evening.
Councilman Berg.
I do have something I'd like to discuss. And that is what had happened at the last city council meeting, where I ended up calling that we moved something to a workshop, and that is the situations that went on up at the rec center. I have probably over the last 2 weeks spent more time on this than any single issue I have had to deal with in the 7 years that I've been on council. I've talked to 40 plus people easy. I probably have 4 or 5 more people I have to reach out to on this issue. But At this time, I've had discussions with Reed and some of the other council people, and at this time, I don't feel the need to push for a workshop, as though I feel that right now Reed has it under control and he is moving forward with this issue. The one thing that I do want to talk about that I personally have an issue with and that I won't tolerate is, as a councilman, I feel like the city staff and employees that work for the city are my employees in a sense, not the sense that I'm their boss, not the sense that I can go and tell them what to do, not that I can go to their, their office and chew them out for anything that's going on in the city, but that I feel personally responsible for those employees. So one thing I won't tolerate is the staff up at the rec center being disrespected, yelled at, intimidated, or pushed around in any sense of the word. So, like I said, I know Reed's working on it. I've been in contact with Reed, and we will continue to work on this before we call a workshop on this issue. And that's all I have, Council President.
Thank you. Councilperson Bushman.
Thank you, Council President. I just want to first say, Brian, you're doing a fabulous job. I know this is a tough time during legislation and all the bills and tracking them. So thank you for doing that. I went to spin class early this morning, so before 5, and I was just amazed that the streets have been plowed. I mean, even mine, and I'm like super happy about that. So thank you for the due diligence in the streets and taking care of that. Kudos for Katie for those shirts. I love them from the run, and you always do an amazing job in getting all the volunteers, because I know sometimes that's a challenge, but fabulous job in doing that. And I look like everyone had a good time, definitely at that run. And just congratulations to Brad as well. Definitely well deserved, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. I just have one or two comments. And I just want to echo what everybody has said tonight, even though it's only been a couple of you. I still want to echo what you've had to say. And I do also support wholeheartedly that workers at the rec center must be respected. And we as the staff members or those that are in charge, if there is any abuse of any kind, there needs to be accountability in regards to treating the staff disrespectful. So I support that very strongly. I had a good meeting with Reed yesterday, with Reed and Chris and Katie. And I think we made some real good progress in regards to the situation I talked about last week. And I still feel the same way, and I do not apologize for bringing it forth. But I think that Reed is doing a great job, and he's trying to bring that to a conclusion without having to go into a workshop. And I have full faith and confidence in him that will probably be the case, that we won't have to worry about that. And it'll be resolved, and that all parties will turn out and be happy with the situation. I have nothing else. And so if there's nothing else tonight, is there a motion to adjourn?
Council President,
Councilman Shetron,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
is there a second? All those in favor? No, never mind. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.